And that is Representative-elect Doug Lamborn, who is representing the 5th District of Colorado. He's a Republican. That's the Colorado Springs area of that state. Congressman Lamborn, what's number one on your legislative agenda?
The first thing I'm going to do is work on a local issue, which is a veterans cemetery. I have a lot of military people, including veterans, over 100,000 veterans in my district, and they don't have access to a nearby cemetery. So that's an issue of local concern, but it's a big deal in my area.
And what about on the national scale?
I hope that we can have fiscal responsibility. I think that sometimes the Republicans in the last few years did spend too much money. I will admit that as a Republican. I hope that I can work with the Democrats and we can have more fiscal responsibility. I'm disappointed that the pay-go rules are apparently going to be part of the 100 hours agenda, and that's going to lead to big tax increases. I'm very concerned about that, but I hope we can have more fiscal responsibility.
What do you think about getting rid of earmarks or having sponsors' names attached to earmarks?
We need a lot of reforms of earmarks. I agree with both of those things you just mentioned. We should have more transparency. Maybe they should be proven to have to be of national importance before they're attached. Anything like that I would support.
Representative-elect Doug Lamborn is one of the 158 members of the House of Representatives that has a law degree. What were you doing prior to your election to Congress?
Well, for the last 12 years, Peter, I have been in the Colorado legislature, both the House and the Senate. Also, I'm married and have 5 children. That creates a lot of opportunity to be tied into the community. But professionally speaking, I was in the Colorado legislature.
Representative-elect Lamborn, Greta Woodley of Congress Daily is here on the set with me, and she has a question for you.
Good morning, Congressman. Congratulations.
Thank you, Greta.
I was curious, what do you need to do over the next 2 years to get reelected in 2008?
Well, like probably every other representative here in this building, I'm going to be working hard to serve the needs of my constituents. That means a lot to me to be able to help people. And frankly, what's good for policy is good for politics, and what's good for the constituents is good for politics. But I'll let the politics chips fall where they will. I'm just going to help the people, and I'll let everything take care of itself.
Congressman Lamborn, and tell me if I'm unfair on this, you represent one of the most conservative districts in the United States. You do consider yourself a conservative. You're opposed to abortion, embryonic stem cell research. You're against the Medicare prescription drug. But at the same time, your longtime predecessor, Joel Heffley, did not endorse you, but you ended up beating your opponent by nearly 20 points.
That's exactly right. It is a good Republican district, but I do feel like I can reach across the aisle. I have a history and a reputation of doing that in the Colorado legislature because the solutions and problems for the American people overrides everything. It's more important than partisanship. So I will be reaching across the aisle and working with the Democrats when we have a chance of doing a good common sense solution for a problem.
Now, have you had a chance to talk with former Representative Joel Heffley?
Well, I've been trying to make connection with him, but he hasn't really been very available, sorry to say.
Will your family be moving out here or staying in Colorado?
They're going to stay in Colorado. They'll visit here and there quite a bit probably, but none of us are going to move here. We're going to commute. I'm going to commute every weekend back to my home in the district.
And sir, if you've got a few minutes, let's take a couple calls. The first one is up from Cleveland on our Democrats line. Go ahead, Cleveland.
Okay, I have a few points to make. I'll try to make it brief. Travel reform in Congress is number one. A fleet of jets for Congress will solve the problem of the travel issue. Health reform. That's a very major problem in the United States, people having proper health care. Immigration. We do have enough workers to take all of the jobs in this country.
Okay, caller, we're going to leave it at those 3 issues. Congressman-elect Lamborn, lobby reform, health care reform, and immigration reform.
Well, your caller does put his finger on 3 very important issues. Immigration, for instance, I think a lot of the solution is let's enforce the laws that we already have on the books. I'm not sure we need a lot of new laws. Let's start enforcing what we have now. That would be one solution right there. Lobbying reform, we should look at that. I don't know about the idea of buying jets for the Congress, but I think that we can make some reforms nevertheless. And on health care, we do have to be able to lower the price for people to buy insurance and to lower the price of what doctors and hospitals charge. I'd like to see more free market approaches and more free market solutions, not just a government-dominated system.
Would you like to get rid of the new Medicare Part D prescription drug program?
Well, if it's up to me, yes, but I think we're probably too late for that.
Thank you, Congressman Congressman-elect Doug Lamborn, 5th District of Colorado. Thank you for being with us this morning and welcome to Washington.
Thank you.